You ever have a moment where your heart knows something before your mind can accept it? That's exactly where my story begins. If you're listening right now, I just want to say, stick with me because this one still hurts to talk about. My best friend Mark wasn't just a friend. He was the person I trusted like family. We grew up together, shared every milestone, every struggle, every dream. His wife, Emily, became part of that circle too. She was kind, warm, and genuinely believed Mark and I were more like brothers than friends. Life felt simple back then. We'd spend weekends at their house, cooking, laughing, and talking about the future. I honestly thought the three of us would always stay close. Nothing in my mind could have imagined the storm that was coming. But sometimes betrayal doesn't arrive loudly. Sometimes it begins as a quiet feeling you can't explain. And that's where everything shifted. It started with small things, tiny details most people would overlook. Mark suddenly became busy during times he was never busy before. He'd leave gatherings early, keep his phone face down, and get strangely defensive over harmless questions. At first, I tried to brush it off. I told myself he was stressed, maybe overwhelmed at work. But deep down, something wasn't sitting right. One evening, I stopped by his place to drop off some tools he'd asked for. Emily opened the door, surprised to see me. She mentioned Mark had left for a late meeting. But when I got back to my car, I noticed something odd. His car was parked 2 blocks away at a cafe he never visited. My stomach tightened. I walked closer, unsure of what I'd even say if I saw him. And that's when I saw him through the window, sitting across from someone. Someone who wasn't Emily. They looked close, too close for it to be innocent. My heart sank. I didn't want to believe what my eyes were telling me. After that night, I couldn't shake the image from my mind. I wanted so badly to be wrong. Maybe it was a misunderstanding. Maybe that moment meant nothing. But the feeling in my chest wouldn't let me rest. I knew I needed clarity, not assumptions. So over the next week, I quietly paid attention. I wasn't trying to expose him. I was trying to protect Emily from needless heartbreak if I had somehow misread the situation. But then Mark's behavior changed even more. He stopped showing up to our usual weekly hangouts. He avoided my messages, and when we did talk, he seemed nervous. Like he was hiding a heavy secret he hoped I wouldn't discover. One afternoon, I passed by the same cafe, and there he was again, sitting with the same woman. Their conversation looked intimate, their body language unmistakable. I snapped a quiet photo, not out of spite, but to make sure I wasn't accusing him unfairly. And that night, lying in bed, I struggled deeply. Was it my place to say anything? Or would silence make me part of the hurt? The weight of everything I had learned sat heavy on my chest. I kept replaying the same questions in my mind. If I stay silent, am I protecting my best friend? Or helping him hurt someone who trusts him completely? And on the other hand, if I speak up, am I destroying a marriage that still has a chance to heal? For days, I carried that tension like a knot in my stomach. I could barely focus at work, barely sleep, barely think about anything else. I wasn't angry at him. I was disappointed, confused, and honestly heartbroken. This was someone I admired, someone who taught me what loyalty looked like. And now I was watching him betray the one person who always stood by him. The turning point came when Emily casually mentioned feeling distant from him lately. Her voice cracked just slightly, but that was enough. I knew then that staying quiet would only deepen her pain. So I made the hardest decision of my life. I chose honesty, even knowing it could cost me my closest friend. I remember sitting across from Emily, my hands twisting nervously in my lap. I didn't want to hurt her, but I knew the truth needed to be heard. I took a deep breath and spoke slowly, choosing my words carefully. Emily, there's something I think you need to know about Mark. Her eyes widened, and I could see the fear mixed with confusion. I described what I had seen, emphasizing that I wasn't judging her husband, but that she deserved honesty, no matter how painful. I focused on facts, not assumptions, and tried to convey my care for her, my desire to protect her from being blindsided. Her hands trembled slightly as she processed the words. She didn't scream or cry, she just sat there staring. And in that silence, I felt the weight of my choice settle. I knew Mark's reaction would come later, and I braced myself for it. Wishing there was another way, as expected, Mark's reaction was immediate and harsh. I tried to reach out to him after Emily confronted him, but his messages were cold, clipped, and full of anger. He accused me of betrayal, of breaking the trust we'd built over years. I felt a punch in my chest, the weight of his disappointment and fury hitting me all at once. I wanted to explain my side, to show him that I acted out of care, not malice. But he wasn't ready to hear it. Our conversations ended abruptly, and soon, the calls and texts stopped altogether. I felt the ache of losing someone who had been like family. It wasn't revenge, it wasn't drama, it was honesty. And it had come at a high cost. For the first time, I truly understood that doing the right thing doesn't always feel good. Sometimes it costs you the relationships you value the most. Looking back, I realized that telling Emily the truth was one of the hardest decisions I've ever made. Losing Mark, someone I considered a brother, hurt more than I could have imagined. But I also know I made the choice out of care, honesty, and respect for someone who trusted both of us. This experience taught me that doing the right thing isn't always easy, and it doesn't guarantee gratitude. Sometimes, the people you love the most may never understand your perspective. But integrity means acting in alignment with your values, even when it comes with a personal cost. I still miss our friendship, and the guilt lingers. But I've learned that honesty, compassion, and empathy are worth it, even when the outcome isn't what you hoped for. I want to hear from you. What would you have done in my place? Would you speak up or stay silent? Share your thoughts below.